Guys, the big one is finally here. I just checked on my Xbox One. It said 40 gigabytes, which blows every other update we've gotten out of the water. This one is set to be huge. But again, I'm going to be making a review. Is it better on PS4 and Xbox One after this update? I need some time to play with it. My Xbox is still downloading it as we speak. But if it's as big as what they mention in these patch notes, then we're in for a better game here. And I know a lot of people are still super mad at them. I read the replies to the tweet about the patch. People are still really mad. But if this really does fix the game in a major way, which according to these patch notes, it should, then maybe it might be time to start to move on. Not completely move on, maybe if you're still holding a grudge or whatever, but if it's a step in the right direction, let's look towards the positive side. And these patch notes, man, over 500 plus changes. And let's not forget the key line at the end of the patch notes. You know what they say, the very last thing? They say, and many more. So honestly, you guys, I can't read every single one. There would probably be about 600 different patch notes I would have to read, because a ton of them are very specific to little quests and little tiny visual things that happen. Like, I'll give you a couple of examples here. Fixed an issue where Hellman's personal link could be found floating in life during wartime. Like, this is what the majority, the bulk of these patch notes are here, but there's a lot of juicy stuff. So instead of just kind of mindlessly reading every single patch notes, I went and I read through all of them, and I'm going to give you guys the big juicy stuff, the stuff that you're probably waiting to hear and wanting to hear. Let's get into it. And of course, I strongly encourage you guys, if you're having a problem with a very specific quest, to go read the patch notes, press Ctrl F, type in the quest you're having a problem with, and see if they addressed it. Because, again, honestly, they might have addressed every single quest and side activity, maybe in the entire game here. There is so much. But I know the majority of people watching my Cyberpunk content are on PS4 and Xbox One, so I want to draw your attention right to the end of the patch notes, the stability and performance section, where they say that this section discusses changes that enter all the platforms, but many of them have a bigger difference on last generation consoles and lower performance machines. So they say that there's improved stability and performance of the engine and the rendering engine, reducing the number of random crashes. I know that that's a very big issue on PS4. Memory optimizations and memory management improvements in various systems, again, reducing the number of crashes. Here's a big one here. Various optimizations and improvements in shadows, shaders, physics, work spot system, spawn system, scene system, animation system, occlusion system, and facial animation system. That is a big one. But again, as of right now, it's just words on a page. I'm excited to go in game and see what it's actually like. They also addressed another memory management side of the game, which, again, they use a bunch of technical terms, but I want to make sure it's in layman terms, so even, a 35-year-old dad who's watching this, who loves Cyberpunk, who just wants the game to be better, can understand it. They improved a memory side of the game, which helps with memory-related crashes, especially during long playthroughs. They also have multiple UI stability improvements and fixes for the most common UI-related crashes. And again, they keep going, various crash fixes. Among others, in settings menu and upon reloading saves repeatedly during gameplay and GPU related. And they love using this generalization here, various other stability and performance improvements. So again, time will tell, but according to this, what this should do is make the game crash less, run smoother, and run faster. That's what this is going to do, and that's our hope, especially PS4 and Xbox One. And that was just the general stability improvements. There's also a section titled PC specific and console specific, where they go into a bunch more detail, but things like various environment streaming and input-output improvements. So that's like pop-in. There's also some no clipping and things like that happen in the game. These are things that they went and addressed it. But again, it's all great to see it in the patch notes, but the eye test will really tell us how much of this actually works and is true within the game. Which is why I don't want to just keep repeating myself like, okay, this crash fix, that crash fix, this improvement with the no clipping, that thing with the no clipping, because they say that repeatedly for almost every single quest they mention. But again, you guys get the idea, a bunch of fixes to try and make the game crash less, work better, smoother, and faster. Couple interesting ones in graphics, audio, and animation. Fixed NPCs moving after being killed. I don't know about you guys, but almost every NPC that I killed, they would like move around and flop around like crazy. Improvements in textures rendering from afar. That should be a pretty big fix. Adjusted visual detail quality of some elements when underwater. That's a big one. The underwater looked beyond rough, especially on last gen. Improvements in materials detail quality, which is again another big one. Improved foliage destruction visuals. So again, these aren't the biggest things in the world, but they help with immersion. They help to not have game-breaking stuff where it takes you out of the experience like, oh my god, come on. You know what I mean? They also address the overlapping dialogue problem, which I know we've all seen, and it's so annoying because you're trying to listen to one person talk, but then you get a phone call from somebody else, which you can't reject. You have to answer the phone call. And then you've got two people talking over each other, and it's so annoying. So apparently they went and addressed that, which is a good thing. A bunch of clipping stuff. We've all seen the bugs where people find little holes in the map where you can fall into it, fall through the map, or go outside of where you're supposed to be, and sometimes you get stuck there. So they went and addressed a bunch of those types of things, the fall out of the map glitches. They also fixed a bunch of stuff, again, in romance scenes. There was probably some glitches there for a bunch of people. And NPCs, of course, we've all seen them kind of twitching or not going the wrong way, Jackie's head upside down or whatever. They address that. And again, in the quest section, there are so many. I'm convinced they went and touched up almost every quest in the game, but I'm just worried there's going to be another Takamura bug. You guys remember that from the last patch, I think, where they went and tried to fix a quest with Takamura and it caused like a whole game-breaking bug where you couldn't progress, so you were stuck on that quest. That's the only thing I'm worried about, is we're going to get another repeat of that with another quest. Because again, in game development, as you know, if you cover one hole up, another one's going to pop up somewhere else. So again, I just hope it doesn't cause any more really bad bugs by fixing these quests. In open world, some very interesting stuff here. NPCs will no longer stay blocked on traffic lanes while in fear, which means that we might get some smarter NPCs out on the road, which is desperately needed for this game. NPCs hit by a car will now immediately run in panic. Okay. They also added different animation variations for pedestrians running away from a vehicle. That is a big one. Remember I was talking about game breaking a couple minutes ago? Well, when you throw a grenade and everybody gets out of their car the same exact way at the same exact time, that's honestly immersion breaking. And they also say, again, the generalization, various immersion improvements and fixes in the open world encounters and gigs. Up next in gameplay, we already saw last week in their little Night City news segment, whatever thing, some of these improvements, but the NCPD spawn radius for when the player commits a crime has been increased. We also saw the new steering sensitivity slider added to control settings. They also adjusted the vehicle steering code to work better in low and extreme high frame rate situations to produce more consistent results. So what this does is it improves steering on base consoles noticeably. They also mentioned that feature where you could rock your way out of like a situation where your car was stuck, so you're not just like stuck forever in there. And they also mentioned some other things they did to tweak the driving mechanics to make steering improved and cure excessive body roll and oversteering. That is way bigger than it sounds. That's a big one. They also increased the damage of gorilla arms by 20%. But this is the type of stuff we're looking at. Now what I'm super interested, of course, number one is the performance on PS4 and Xbox One. That's what everyone's been clamoring for months now. And will it get it back on the PlayStation Store? That'll be interesting because this is a huge update. I also want to see if they've went and touched up the money glitches at all. I'm going to be testing that out, seeing what's up there. But I'm excited to go in and play this update. Expect a review of it very soon on last-gen consoles. If you want to see it on Xbox Series X, if there's enough people who say that, I'll do that too. Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.